Welcome to our second VelocityForm podcast. I'm Dave from EBOS, which powers our VelocityForm sports models. We bring you the secrets of pro punters and data science so you can bridge the gap between you and the bookmakers. So I thought I'd change it up this week. We had a lot of support and views for our first podcast last week. I did it on Friday. I'm going to do this one on a Monday. The teams aren't named yet, but we're going to get ahead of the bookmakers and the pricing. I think there's some value in here that we can certainly snip, and I'll run through why. So it is Rabbitohs v Sea Eagles. We're going to assume the Rabbitohs are pretty close to full strength and they've had a week off. I haven't heard any injury concerns of Manly. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this, if you don't see it, if you see it after Tuesday. So I'm going to highlight a couple of things. This is the draw from round 13 onwards of both the teams. So this is the Rabbitohs here. Basically just want to highlight that the Rabbitohs are not shy in scoring points and attacking. And same goes for Manly. When we look at round 13 onwards, or the bye, round 14 onwards, we've got some big scores, 50s, 60s, etc., 40s. So Manly can score points as well. So that's worth keeping in mind because all that information is in the model, which we will get to at the end. So I wanted to highlight a couple of team stats, and these are average stats. So for those on YouTube, you can see my screen. For those on audio only, I will read out the numbers for you. So these are average team stats for possession percentage. We've got the Rabbitohs second on the ladder at nearly 53% possession as an average. The Sea Eagles sixth at 51%. So that's close to 2%. And around about 95 or 100 seconds, that translates to with extra time with the ball. So maybe 2 quick sets, or, maybe one long set, or even 1.5 sets really with the ball. As far as the kick return meters goes, I think this was worth highlighting as well. The Rabbitohs second on the ladder, average kick return meters per game, 225 meters. Manly fifth on the ladder at 189. If we're rounding up the decimal places there. And the all run meters average per game, the Rabbitohs, we've got 1,764 meters. The Sea Eagles seventh on the ladder, 1,671. A lot of the other statistics, in-game stats like tries, try assists, etc., are all fairly similar as far as the in-game statistics goes. But I thought those three were certainly worth highlighting where Souths have an edge there. So let's have a look and see what the marketplace thinks. We've got Sportsbet has South Sydney at $1.77 versus 205 with the line 1.5. On the tab, Souths are $1.73 versus 210 at 1.5 the line. On Top Sport, we've got Souths at $1.75 versus 208 with a 1.5 line. And on Betfair, we've got a $1.78 versus $2.22 with about 6,000 matched. So there's a lot more money to come in to Betfair as far as that goes. There's no money to back or lay with the line at 1.5 on Betfair. So let's see what our modelling says. Now, these ratings that we do are done at 100% market. They're done with all sorts of in-game statistics and going back to our database of 5 years. And we also put each team in a tier. So if you're a tier 1 team, you're a top 4 team. If you're a bottom 4 team, you'll be tier 4, plus obviously the 2 tiers in the middle as well. So the model rating is $1.63 to the Rabbitohs, Sea Eagles $2.50. The line prediction here at -21 for the Rabbits and 20, plus 21 for the Sea Eagles. I do want to highlight our model is not tied to a head-to-head price and a line prediction like the bookmakers are. So this tells me two things when the line's high. It can mean that the model thinks that there's going to be a hiding, as was the case last week with Manly v the Roosters. But it also tells us that the game has potential to be a very high variance game. And I highlighted the big scores earlier as far as the impact on the line prediction, because the model thinks, or the model knows, that the Rabbitohs and the Sea Eagles both can score a lot of points. So that means that this variance, this line prediction can be high purely because both the teams can score a lot of points. So if you're at the pub and it's half time and one team's up by a try or 8 points or something like that, but the other team looks okay, you might be able to get decent overs on the other team that's only a try behind, where both can score plenty of points. When we have a look at the percentages versus the opponent's tier for the last 12 months, Rabbitohs have beaten other tier 1 teams 44% of the time. Manly have beaten them 0% of the time. When we look at a 3-year percentage versus the opponent's tier, Souths have beaten it, the other tier 1 teams 38% of the time, Manly 32%. Now, the line win percentage of 12 months versus the opponent's tier, Rabbitohs is only 33%, whereas Manly's 60%. And if we look at the line percentage versus the opponent's tier, Rabbitohs come up to 48%. This is for 3 years. Manly at 74%. So with such a small line at only 1.5, I'll definitely be taking Rabbitohs head-to-head, and also that line at 1.5 as well. If you're a match total over and unders punter, there's probably no value for you here. Rabbitohs have been on the match overs for the last 3 years. They've won, the overs have happened 48% of the time and 52 unders. Manly the other way, they've been 53% overs and 47% on the unders. So that's it for our pod this week. You can get to our link and our landing page about our rugby league product. We hope to be finished our horse racing product for Sydney Metropolitan Racing in the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't joined up VelocityForm, please do share the pod with your mates so we can achieve our mission of creating winning punters at scale. If you've got any questions, future ideas on future episodes for the podcast, please reach out and let us know, and have a lovely week.